Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk Podcast. This is actually the 200th episode of the podcast. I can't believe we've been going this long, and yet I can't believe it took this long to get here. But unfortunately for this podcast, we have a loss to talk about. We're going to jump into the Iowa loss, of course, last night in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Spend most of our time probably on that before we jump up and look at the Ohio State game and other options we have there. But that's really all we're going to talk about today. So let's jump right in. Tar Heels went to Iowa City, took on the Iowa Hawkeyes in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Number 3 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes with the favorite for National Player of the Year in Luka Garza. And came out really slow again, which has been kind of our MO so far this season, starting really slow. But we got down. We were actually biggest deficit was 16, just not quite halfway through the first half. It was about 13-minute mark in the first half. We were down 16. That was the biggest deficit we had. And we hung tough. At halftime, I said, I can't believe we're only down 12. It felt like we were down by a lot more than 12 after that first half. Because they were just killing us from threes. And it was interesting because we know we've been killed by threes over and over as Tar Heel fans. And it's like, why do we help so much off of the shooters? And people were saying, and I was saying really that we're giving Garza too much credit and not making him beat us. We got the numbers down low. Let's guard him straight up. And so we don't have to help so much off those shooters because they were just getting wide open looks and they were just hitting. They had 11 threes in the first half. We were just giving them wide open looks. And it's like, let's make them at least, work inside, but we don't have to help so much, like make them do something inside because Garza was not good in the first half. He wasn't spectacular for this whole game. He shot 6 for 20, which he's been shooting, 80%, obviously lesser teams and just bullying them inside close to the basket. But we did a pretty darn good job on him. But the outside shooters were just killing us, especially in the first half. And actually, after the game, Roy in the press conference said that they were not doubling Garza. They were playing him straight up as just our guards. And it's probably habit. You're taught that when somebody gets beat, you slide over and help on the drive, the penetration. And our guys are just doing it too much. Even we weren't really getting beat. Someone would just start driving and we would help over and leave a shooter wide open. And then when they they did go down and whatever reason, we're getting too far off those guys and they were just nailing threes. But we did fight back, especially the start of the second half. Like I said, we were down 12 and a half. We came out strong right away and cut it down. And we were just kind of down a lot, and then about the 10-minute mark, halfway through the second half, we actually took the lead and kind of looked like, we got over the hump. And then really it was, I don't like blaming refs, and I'm not even blaming refs here, but I'm not saying we would have won if it wasn't for these calls, but the refs just started calling everything. And mostly when Garza had the ball, and our big guys got into foul trouble. I didn't think anybody fouled out in this stat sheet. At least it says Armando did foul out. I must have completely missed that, but he fouled out. Garrison had 4. Dayron had 4, and this was again with 8 minutes left or so. There was a lot of time left when those 3 guys had 4 fouls each, and then Kessler was just not strong enough. Speaking of which, I don't even see. Oh, there, Walker Kessler. Okay. Only played 6 minutes, and he just wasn't strong enough with the ball. Offensively, he wasn't strong enough defensively to kind of affect Garza the way Sharp probably did the best on him. Baycott did really well on him. Brooks, we know he can play defense, so just wasn't the same when they got into foul trouble. They couldn't be as aggressive, and like I said, everything that Garza did, he was getting a foul. So he'd get and ones, or he'd be kind of falling down, and he'd get the foul call. And not saying we never fouled him, but I don't think every single time he touched the ball, we fouled him. And then he didn't get called for any of those fouls. He actually did end up with 4 fouls, but I don't remember anything being called on him. There was one I thought he hooked. There was one I thought he traveled, didn't get called on. He was just definitely getting the benefit. And again, not saying we would have won, but once they got those fouls on us, we couldn't be as aggressive on him, open stuff up, and hitting free throws, and just empty possessions for us, kind of opened it back up. They got it above 10 again. You kind of tell that it wasn't going to happen. So again, not saying we would have won, but it would have been a much closer game. Instead of losing by 13 here, maybe we lose by 2, 3, 4, 5 points instead. And that was disappointing. But overall, pretty good showing besides the threes early on the game, and then just not being able to be aggressive enough coming down the stretch in the second half. We were led by Garrison Brooks, 17 points. He had 8 rebounds, shot 7 for 11, so he was shooting well in a good mix. He had some post moves. He knocked down a couple of jumpers, 3 for 3 from the free throw line, which is good. And then after him, we had RJ Davis, 12 points and 8 assists for RJ, which is awesome. 3 turnovers, but again, you take that with 8 assists. He shot 50%. He was 4 for 8, 2 for 5 from the 3-point line. Good night from him. Caleb Love, 11 points. He had 6 assists, which is also good, but he did have 4 turnovers, which obviously, 6 and 4 is not as good as 8 and 3. Shot 4 for 13, so he's still not, efficient there. He's more of a volume shooter as opposed. We'd rather be efficient. And then actually Sharp, we missed him. He actually the second leading scorer with 13 points, had 6 rebounds as well. Played obviously good defense, had a couple of steals. He actually had a couple of steals on the perimeter. One of them, he just lost control of the dribble. I forget even what happened on the second one, but he was, lots of energy. Somebody asked him about his energy in the post game as well, and does really bring the energy, brings kind of everything we need. He's going to be special. And then actually Andrew Platek had knocked down a couple of threes, had 10 points, still made a couple of kind of dumb mistakes. As a senior, you don't like to see dribbling baseline, just getting stuck there and nowhere to go. But again, I think he's earned some minutes. He played 16 minutes in this game. I don't know if I want to see him playing that much, but I don't see 8 to 11, 12 minutes, depending on the opponent and how he's shooting and looking. I don't really mind him in there. Not that obviously I want him to take playing time from someone else, but when we need it, I think he's kind of earned his playing time here. Leaky Black, 9 points, 9 rebounds, so kind of a good outing there. 4 for 10 shooting, not spectacular. He did hit a 3, which was pretty big. Again, you could see the difference. Once he hits that 3, they got to be honest and stick on him, and makes a big time difference. Baycott only had 4 points, but he did have 11 rebounds. Again, played some pretty good defense on Garza. I think we really made him work. Kerwin Walton had 12 minutes, but not, a few assists, a couple of steals, a couple of rebounds. Not adding really what we need yet. Kessler, 6 minutes, but again, I talked about him, just wasn't quite strong enough. Puff Johnson, 4 minutes, and I don't know why he's not getting as much time. I just really haven't seen enough from him to say if he should have more or not. But yeah, we only out-rebounded them by 9. Again, the big thing was the threes that they made. They had guys. One guy for them made 7, 2 other guys made 5. So right there, 17 threes, and we made 6 the entire game. So pretty much 3 other guys made just as many as our entire team. Again, did not rebound them. We outscored them 42-10 or 42-30 in the paint, but didn't own it like we needed. Points from turnovers, they had 23 to our 9. Again, we had 18 turnovers to their 11. Just not good there. We actually did get out and run, especially in the second half there, where we made the comeback and got the lead. Oh man, we looked like Carolina again on the break, and it was so nice to see when we're running. Just the different type of team we are. Is just great. We've talked about shooting a lot here, especially after the Maui Invitational. We shot 48%, so much better. Well, much better, a lot better. Maybe not even a ton of percentage, but just looked a lot better. And actually, from 3-2, we were 40%, which you'll take. And then from the free throw line, still 60%. We're leaving 8 points there. If you take away, they set a record or tied a record, I guess, for most threes made against the Roy Williams team. Take away a couple of those. You add in a couple of our free throws, take away a couple of our turnovers, and, we got a win there. So, again, they're a really good team. I told you guys last podcast that, Garza is going to get some, but it's the other guys that we need to worry about. It's their experienced guards, and That's what it was. Their guards, obviously they were wide open looks, so you got to knock them down. But I mean, they did, and they had some other ones that they just knocked down, and they really made us pay where I kind of thought they would if they were going to win this game, and they definitely did. So tough one, but I think again a lot of promise for us going forward, a lot to look forward to, a lot of improvement that we can make, and yeah, it's a young season, and hopefully, there's been a lot of talk recently about should we be playing, and obviously the amount of positive tests going up, the amount of programs kind of shutting down here, quarantining for a couple of weeks is going up. So it'll be interesting, and that actually affects our next game, or what would have been our next game against Elon this Saturday. Has been postponed because Elon shut down. I'm assuming we'll try to find somebody and play this weekend or early next week, Monday night or something like that. But no word yet. So we obviously can't preview that game. And so that would mean our next game would be Ohio State, which is the following Saturday, December 19th. That game will be on CBS at 2 p.m. Eastern. Another ranked team, I think they're in the 20s or so, but they did win their ACC Big Ten Challenge, and obviously we lost. So they move up. Or probably will move up. They may move up in front of us. That game will be played in Cleveland, Ohio. I don't think any fans, and if there are, not many. So again, you don't necessarily say home court, but they'd have to travel less, which is always an advantage. And yeah, it'll be a nice, again, tough challenge for us. They got some shooters. Again, we have the advantage down low if we can take advantage of it. Excuse me. But yeah, we got to watch the shooters. We got to be out on them. And again, we got to see our freshmen taking steps. I think we've seen RJ take a little bit of a step here. We need Caleb to become more efficient, not throw the ball around so much. And just for them to keep improving here. This is our last, again, if we don't find another game in place of that Elon one, this will be our last non-conference game as we head into North Carolina State game on the 22nd, the Tuesday following that game. And right now my goal is to podcast on that Monday, the 21st, to look back at the Ohio State game, and then of course look back at the first couple of ACC games here over the holiday season. And so, yeah, we got to be ready for Ohio State. We should get some practice in here. We should get everybody healthy. Hopefully they stay healthy and away from, all the COVID-19 stuff, that we don't have to shut down for 2 weeks, and we'll kind of see what happens with college basketball as a whole. But I just want to thank you guys for listening and supporting the podcast. Like I said, the 21st is my next goal to podcast. So if you'd like to follow along live on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed there so you'll get a notification when I do go live. It'll probably be afternoon like this as well. I know we got a few people watching here today, and actually Clyde Gaddis is the raffle. We caught a little baby calls. Yeah, there was I feel some baby calls there last night, but we're not going to go into that anymore. Subscribe on YouTube and you can join the conversation here live, watch the podcast live. And if not, be subscribed, wherever you're listening, and get it as quickly as you can. And yeah, just join in the conversation and uniting, the goal of uniting Tar Heel Nation here. Let's bond together here over this crazy season, and just keep the ride going into ACC play. But first, we got to match up with Ohio State, and we'll see. Make sure you're following on Twitter for any updates on if we get a game there to fill in. But really, that's all I got for you guys this week. And until next week, or I guess we got a week off here since there's no game there. Until next time, go Heels.